Hello everyone, thanks for tuning into the 8th Autumn 2023 update from GavsWeatherVids. So here we go again, it's time to bring you yet more autumn data, and as I said, we're up to the 8th update, and I shall get on with that for you in a moment. It'll be a July data special this week, but more about that in a second. So thank you so much for tuning in, and just say that the first video release date was our 6 AM UK weather forecast, so check that one out if you would like to do that. And it will be live streaming at 6 PM this evening. So we're going to have our Sunday live stream. We'll be bringing you 10 to 14 data, as well as loads of long range. We've got interesting data from CFS, CanSIPs, and the ECMWS as well to bring you on that live stream. And that will all be coming up from 6 PM this evening. So I shall see you live a little bit later on. Thank you so much to Richard for our incredible autumn updates gift number 2. Thank you so much, Rich, for gift number 2. And well done to Jonathan Stockley. We named the Blackbird on the live stream on Wednesday, I think it was. And so that little fella there is Terry. That's Terry. Well, not Terry. The Terry. Well, not the Terry. Terry Scully thinks about that. Anyway, well done to Jonathan, and thank you so to Richard for the gift. Thank you so to Shrine Bruin as well for sorting out all of the relevant years for this update as well. And so yeah, thank you so to Richard and to Shrine and Terry, of course. Hashtag Team Gav, as always, working away for us on our long range updates. Thank you so much. Right, okay, let's get on then. Let's have a look at some autumn data, or some more autumn data. Say we're doing a July data special. We're going to be looking at precipitation and also England Wales rainfall. Starting off though with the centering temperature, so we can see that July CET came out at 16.1, about just 0.2 of a degree above the 61 to 99 average. It was a little bit below average for the 91 to 2020 average. So very simply, we're going to be looking at autumns following July, so the CET range of 15.9 to 16.3, and starting us off is 1950. It's back again. This has been showing up a lot in our updates this year, I think, with an area below average heights in the Atlantic into Northern Europe. That is a very unsettled autumn with lots of rain and wind in from off the Atlantic. Just 1 year on to 1951, also with below average heights, this time more to our west and south, and more in way of high pressure towards Scandinavia. So that's perhaps not quite as wet for that autumn. And later on, it could be a little bit on the cooler side as well. Still rather unsettled, though, with that one. We've got 1957, also following a July CET range of 15.9, 16.3, with an area of above average heights just to our west, and a trough of low pressure in Scandinavia. That brings us with a northwesterly wind. So that's a more anticyclonic signal for that autumn. It does have quite a wet September, I think, and then the rest of it turns more high pressure dominating. Also, 1958. Lots showing up from 1950s for this particular set. Autumn 1958, much more anticyclonic, high pressure towards Scandinavia, bring in the wind from the east. Again, I think it does have quite a wet September in 1958, but then the rest of the autumn turns drier, and with those easters into November, perhaps quite cold as well. 1964 also has a bit of an anticyclonic flavour, with above average heights over and just to the west of the country, bringing the wind from more of a northwesterly direction with back to winter. That's a rather quiet, nondescript type autumn in 1964. Quite a long gap then through to 1979. Next time we have a CET range of 15.9, 16.3. What in July was July 1979. The autumn of 1979 is mild and westerly, with winds in from off the Atlantic Ocean. Kind of a reversion back to more of a typical pattern after the rest of the year up to that point have been very highly abnormal, particularly the winter and the spring of 79, of course. Autumn 1985 is rather anticyclonic with high pressure over and to the west of the country a little bit. So this autumn quite interesting. It has a relatively warm and dry September and also quite a dry-ish and relatively warm October as well, but then it gets much colder in November of 1985, and there is actually some early season snowfalls in November 1985, setting up, of course, what was another 1980s cold winter. The autumn of 1992 is our next one. And this summer is a little bit 1992-ish, actually, with, the warm June and then off into cooler, wetter pattern for July and potentially for August. The autumn of 1992 is just generally mild and unsettled for most of it. Has quite a wet September and a mild, unsettled November. It does have quite a cold October, though. Interesting. You don't really get that from the analogue weather, but yes, it does have pretty cold October with some really quite harsh frost, especially later on in the month. Another long gap then to 2009. Again, this summer is a little bit 2009-ish, I think. The autumn of 2009 is one of those that doesn't tell you a lot in terms of the actual analogue, with the above average heights towards the southwest, but below average heights towards the north and the northwest. So the thing with that summer is, with that autumn I should say, is that it has a very long run of dry weather through September and October. Actually, there's a drought, really. I think it does actually make a technical drought sometime around sort of September into October. Very, very dry October. Driest I think it was since 1978. And then it flips right at the very end of October and through November it turns exceptionally wet, and by the end of November 2009, wouldn't you know it, we've got floods going on and whatnot. And then we've got the autumn of 2015, so this one with an anticyclonic signal over to the east of the country. It has quite a cool and mixed September, and then the autumn starts getting significantly warmer, particularly so into November, which is a very mild and wet month, setting up what will become the warmest December on record. Right, let's put all that together then, and this is how all Septembers combined are looking. Following a July CET range of 15.9 to 16.3, unsettled, 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 with lots of low pressure to our north and west, high pressure down here, winds coming in from off the Atlantic, so an unsettled signal for those September. But look at October, that flips around and turns much drier with a high pressure dominated signal. I think that idea showed up a few times in our autumn updates as well this year. So wet September, dry October, that's quite interesting. And then back to unsettled weather really for November, with below average heights back in, high pressure go down towards Spain. And so yes, quite a wet signal for the Novembers. Also mild though, no northern blocking of any note there to force cold air into the trough of low. An overall analogue for the autumn looks like that. Doesn't tell you a lot because every month is different, but we get some higher pressure just to our south and southwest, lower pressure away to the north and to the northwest. So a wettish September, a dry October, and then back to wet for November, and that is how it comes out when we have the July CET range of 15.9 to 16.3. Right, we'll pause the video there, and when I return, we can have a look at some England and Wales rainfall data. That sounds interesting, doesn't it? I shall see you in a minute. Okay, we're back and we're ready to resume the 8th autumn 2023 update from GavsWeatherVids. Thank you so much, everybody, for tuning in. I hope you enjoyed the autumn update so far. We've still got more data to bring. If you have enjoyed the video so far, please like, share, subscribe. Thank you so much, everybody, for doing that for GavsWeatherVids. You'll be able to see future weather content, including future long range, if you sub. Thank you so much. And again, thank you so much to Rich for the amazing gift there, and hello to Terry, our little black bird. Right, okay, let's move on then. So we're going to have a look at July England and Wales precipitation, rainfall next. So we can see here from Hadley that we have 121.3 millimeters of rain during July 2023, which was actually 168% of the average. And can you believe it? That does actually place July 2023 within the top 10 wettest Julys since 1950. So we love a countdown at GavsWeatherVids, and that's what we're going to do next. No. Oh, I'm so sorry, everybody. Right, at number 10, it's back again. It's 1950. Look at this. Wow. The 10th wettest July since 1915. Was 1950, and of course it showed up in the earlier set as well. The autumn of 1950, I'm going to cringe when I watch it back and cringe. The autumn of 1950 is unsettled and wet, lots of low pressure in from off the Atlantic. Let's carry on then. At number 9, the 9th wettest July was 2017. I'm so sorry, everybody. And again, this summer I think has had some similarities to 2017. So, yes, the autumn of 2017 looks like this, with below average heights over and to the east country, above average heights out in the Atlantic. December jet stream on a northwest-south beat line along with wind flow and direction. And so you would expect that to be quite a coolish autumn, actually. So actually it does have quite a cool wet September, and we haven't had many of those in recent years, but that's one of the few cool wet Septembers that we've had in recent years. October is quite a warm month and famously has the remnants of Hurricane Ophelia just before my birthday. I think on the 16th of October 2017, and it turns the skies a Martian orange, very eerie looking that, wasn't it? And then we have an unsettled November that does have a few cooler or colder intervals within it. At number 8, we've got 2008. So July 2008 was the 8th wettest since 1950. The autumn of 2008, it gets a cooler autumn, actually, with below average heights over and to the east of the country, above average heights around in the Atlantic. Winds again coming in from the northwest a lot of the time. So it has, again, rather mixed September. And then October, of course, famously has the snow right at the very end of the month. We get low snow across lowland southern England right at the end of October 2008. Very unusual. November then has a few cold snaps mixed in. It's not a really cold autumn, but it is one of the cooler autumns that we have had since 1993. We've got 1968 at number 7. I'm so sorry, everybody. This one is unsettled with low pressure in from off the Atlantic. This has a wet September, I think, in 1968, particularly down in the south. And then the rest of the autumn has a warm October, warm and wet October. By November, I think it's starting to get just that little bit colder. Does have a very warm October despite the rain. At number 6, we've got 1960. This one's been showing up a lot in our analogues as well. Bit of blocking to the north, but the main thing is the big trough of low pressure in the Atlantic across the north and west Europe. That is a very unsettled and wet autumn. At number 5, we've got 2012. Again, this is a slightly cooler autumn compared to many of them that we've had in recent years. Low pressure is over and to the east of the country. Bit of blocking in the Atlantic. Winds often coming in from the north. So that has quite a wet September, actually, as well, in 2012. Quite a lot of rain then, and the rest of the autumn is just generally unsettled and quite wet with a few cold snaps coming and going. Overall, a wet and cooler autumn. At number 4, we've got 2023. Wow. And there's the questions to answer. What does the autumn 2023 have in store? Well, that's what we're trying to find out. And in a few weeks' time, we're going to know. We're going to be releasing our autumn forecast. I think it's going to be on the 27th or 28th of August. That's terrible, isn't it? But I can't remember when I'm releasing my autumn forecast. But it has been a long week. But anyway, at the end of the month, let's say last Sunday of the month, that's when we will be releasing our autumn forecast. And answering most questions, of course. At number 3. We've got 2007. So actually, you know, July 2023 was only one step away in the top 10, was only one step away from 2007. Where I am, 2007 was significantly wetter, I think, than this July just gone. The areas further north and west, of course, were actually wetter than 2007. Anyway, the autumn of 2007, after that phenomenally wet summer, actually turned relatively dry with a high pressure signal. So it had a dry but not particularly warm September, a dry October as well, I think, in 2007, quite mild month. And then November, I can't remember much about November 2007, but I think that one could have been relatively dry as well. We've got 1988. We are now trying to get to the dregs, absolute dregs of the Julys, to be honest. So at number 2, we've got 1988. This is the autumn of 1988 with high pressure in the ascendancy across much of northwestern Europe. So again, that has an anticyclonic signal. I think that has quite a cold November in 1988, but of course the winter of 88-89 was very mild. And then at number 1, the wettest July since 1950 was actually 2009. I was very surprised about that, but 2009 was wetter than 2007, but there we go, the stats don't lie. So again, it's back. It showed up in the earlier package of analogues, of course, with the high pressure down towards Spain, low pressure way to the northwest. It's an analogue that doesn't tell you very much about the season overall, because, as I explained in the first set of analogues when it showed up, September was exceptionally dry, quite warm, but not excessively so, but maybe about September 2009, exceptionally dry, and October was exceptionally dry as well, and we have a technical drought, I think, from September into October. It finally breaks at the end of October, and then we go into an exceptionally wet November, so it's a very strange autumn with really unequal and uneven rainfall, and it follows the wettest July since 1950. Right, let's put all of that together then. This is how all Septembers combined are looking, following the top 10 wettest Julys, and overall it is an unsettled signal for the Septembers, with below average heights over to the east of the country, high pressure out in the Atlantic, winds on northwest southeast alignment, so a wet and cool signal for the Septembers. Again, bear in mind there will be years that are doing something different. There will be exceptions. We know we've got 2009 in the mix, which was an exceptionally dry September, but overall it's actually a wet signal for the Septembers. All Octobers combined, back to that idea of a more anticyclonic type signal, but this time the higher pressure tends to be more towards the west and northwest of the country, which is actually a cooler position for that. So drier, yes, but possibly a little bit colder for the Octobers, or certainly cooler. And then November, very interesting. This could be a cold signal for the Novembers, actually, with above average heights around Greenland in the North Atlantic and a trough of low pressure across northern and also west parts of Europe, and that will bring the wind in from much more of a north or a northeasterly direction. So back to unsettled in November, but a colder flavour of that, and with a little bit of wind shear potential potentially with those Novembers. And finally, this is how all autumns combined are looking, following the top 10 wettest Julys. And yes, it's an unsettled signal, but also quite a cool signal, with the below average heights and low pressure over to east country, particularly focused over Scandinavia, higher pressure towards Greenland, winds in from the north and from the northeast, a cold and quite unsettled signal, or a cool anyway, quite unsettled signal for those autumns. Bear in mind, October is a little bit drier though. And we're done. That's the 8th autumn update in the can. If you've enjoyed the video, please like, share and subscribe. Thank you so much, everybody, for doing that. and drop a comment. Let us know what you think about this and all of our videos. We thank you so much, everybody, for that. Thank you so much to Shryan for sorting out all of those shares for us. Thank you so much, Shryan. And thank you so much as well to Rich for the gift. Incredible, amazing. And congrats again to Jonathan. And hello. Hello. Jazz hands. Hello. To Terry the Blackbird. Right, okay, quite an interesting update again this week. We are, as I say, cracking on now with our autumn update. Just 2 or 3 more to do before we release the GavsWeatherVids autumn forecast. I've got quite a few ideas churning away in the grey matter for this autumn. So, yes, we are at the business end now of the updates. Are not long to go before we release our autumn forecast. If you've enjoyed the video, again, please can you like, share, and subscribe. Thank you so much for doing that. We're going to have more data for autumn for you next week. That will be the 9th autumn update, same time, same place. And I don't know what we're going to look at for that one yet, but we will be looking at more autumn data next week. We're going to be back at 6 p.m. live streaming, so I shall see you live at 6. We will be bringing you the 10 to 14 dayer, and then we'll combine that with loads of those of long range as well. So see you a little bit later on. But for this 8th autumn 2023 update, that's all for now, and thank you so much for watching. Bye for now.